No ID is meant for a sane audience. No ID may contain liberty-oriented content. Pinko discretion is advised. Now, here's No ID with Paul Banducci and Scott Moskowitz.
Yeah, we're back. It's No ID.
Hello, Internet. We're back.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Paul.
There we go. Yes, it's no guest tonight, and that's all right.
It means I don't have to share a mic. Woo!
Paul and I can kindle the love.
Oh, yeah.
The format that we keep saying we're going to do. It took 2 episodes, but here on number 3, here we are.
I didn't invite any guests this time.
We are deconstructing the mainstream narratives of panhandle politics, hyper-local revolution, because every region has a mainstream apparatus that propagandizes. Yes, I've decided that's going to kind of be my tagline or whatever you want to call it.
I guess I'll have to work on my tagline. I don't have one yet.
I feel like you do. It's a sticker on your laptop, and that same sticker resides on my bathroom mirror, and it has since before I really even knew you.
Taxation is theft. Taxation is theft. Yeah, maybe I should sign in and sign out with that. I'm going to try it out.
It's just so you know, industry lingo, when you sign off with something, it's called locking out. So when you go like taxation is theft, I'm Paul Banducci. That's lock out.
Locking out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we had Mark Luca on the previous show. Mark Luca did win his seat for Post Falls City Council.
Thanks to us. That was all us.
Oh yeah, our promotion is definitely what put him over the top.
100%.
We have lots of results to report and dissect and deconstruct. The local elections were yesterday, and boy, did nobody notice.
A few people did. Some people are big mad.
You know, the median age, the median voter age is. Do you have any idea?
Do you know?
I looked it up. Yeah.
Oh, you do know? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take a guess, and then you can tell me how close I am. Especially up here, because Kootenai County is.
No, I didn't look at it for Kootenai. This is a nationwide statistic, but I'm assuming it's probably we'll ask Chauncey in a moment. But what do you think it is?
I would say in the low 60s.
Okay, you're in the right vein. Yeah, like old people, young people do not vote.
They tend not to for a number of different reasons.
So let's see. I mean, I don't even know if we should bother. I mean, that's really. I think it's 51. It's like above 50.
Oh, I'm actually surprised.
You
it's
guessed a little
low.
high.
I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. So I mean, not only do mostly older folks vote. Even most older folks don't vote. It's just the ones that do tend to be older. So this was a below 30. Not that this is new. I mean, this is the case for off-year non-presidential local elections.
Yeah, technically, it's not even a midterm.
Not a midterm.
No.
No, it's just it's not a presidential election, and it's not anything. It's just a local election for
off cycle. Ironically enough, positions that matter to us more on the local level, because it's city council members, it's mayors. So if you, particularly if you live in any incorporated area, incorporated city, it actually matters quite a bit. More so, I would say, than national representative elections, national senator elections, and to a degree, even state senator and representatives. Just the local stuff is what touches you first.
But when it comes to who else turned out for this off-year election, well, not many. In fact, most Idahoans stayed home. Statewide voter turnout hit just 29%, which is fewer than 1 in every 3 registered voters bothering to cast a ballot, either absentee or in person. Blaine County, where they were deciding on a couple of mayors and a couple of local option taxes, they led the Gem State with a 50% turnout. In Jerome, 44% showed up to vote down a school levy, followed by Shoshone, Idaho, and Latah counties. Caribou also came in with 42%.
Kootenai not
Meanwhile,
registering.
bringing up the tail end of the turnout tally, that would not be, well, not the butt end, but it would be Butte County, where only 256 people voted for 18%. Twin Falls, Minidoka, and Jefferson counties landed in the 16-17% range, while Gem County, they ended up with the lowest turnout rate in the entire Gem State. Those are pretty low numbers for local elections that determine more of your daily life and your daily budget than even federal elections, every odd, or I should say even numbered year. The direction of this...
Yeah, but this guy's reading it with like a newscaster.
No, this guy ripped me off. I said that.
Even federal elections, every odd, or I should say even numbered year. The direction of the city, the school board, and how much you pay in property taxes, those are all determined by local elections. And that's less than 30% of the people deciding for the rest of the 70% of Idahoans. But I'll bet we're going to hear a lot from those 70%ers when it comes to complaints about what happens next.
You can hear them banging on their keyboards from here.
Okay. If we get time, I do want to tackle the old adage that says if you don't vote, you can't complain, because I don't buy that. That's bullshit.
Agreed.
You should be allowed to complain whether you vote or not.
Oh, and in fact, whether I'm allowed or not, I'm doing it.
Yeah. Well, a vote is basically just picking your ruler and deciding what flavor of boot leather you like more. So a lot of people just go, nah, I'm not going to vote because this is all nonsense. And I don't like what they're doing or what they do to me. So I'll still complain.
That's the thing. It's like we've sort of been touching on this, in the brief yet storied run that this show has had so far, which is we're all just, what are we really talking about here? I mean, is there anybody, the best you can hope for is somebody being like, I'll pledge not to raise your taxes for now. Meanwhile, he's got like his fingers crossed behind his back. Like, are we doing anything meaningful as far as taxation? I mean, not really. I mean, you're still just going to have 35% of your labor taken from you. No one is talking about it seriously. It's all just shades of more.
Yeah. Before we go any further, though, I want you to, when you're editing, in the editing room, I want you to take that clip of what are we really talking about here and use that for future episodes.
Sound drops?
Well, yeah,
yes.
Sound drop. What are we talking about
Yes,
here?
in between shows, Paul was the thing that he wanted to know the most was, how do I do sound drops? Can you tell me how to do sound drops?
You guys are going to, when I start learning how to do sound drops.
Look out.
Yeah, look out.
It's going to be a morning zoo before you know it.
I'm going to have so much fun. You're going to have so much fun.
Check traffic and weather. So it's what is expected as far as turnout goes. Now, as far as what was expected for who won these seats, because the elections took place, just because most people didn't show up doesn't matter. There was some hand wringing that went on as far as who endorsed which candidate and what those endorsements meant, and there was maybe some disappointment. I don't know. You can elaborate.
Well, in Kootenai County, over the last 10, 12 years, as the Kootenai County Republican Precinct Committee has leaned a little more conservative than it had in the past. That has been a battle now that has raged very hard for the last decade. A lot of hand-wringing over who endorses who, and this election was no different. You get a lot of people who get pretty upset when they don't get the endorsement from the official Republican committee in Kootenai County, and oftentimes when they don't, they get big mad and they move over to what we talked about them last episode. They're going to come up a lot, the North Idaho Republicans. So what you have in Kootenai County in particular is essentially the North Idaho Republican faction and the Kootenai County Republican Precinct Committee recommendations. Both organizations put forth their recommendations. Both claim to be conservatives. NIR, North Idaho Republicans, are not. They are essentially Democrats who like to call themselves Republicans. So we refer to them as rhinos, Republicans in name only. And that's been the dynamic going on. So in this election, local politics gets pretty nasty, but you had NIR candidates versus actual Republican precinct candidates. And it was a mixed bag of nuts on who won.
So the percentages, the KCRCC, those endorsed candidates actually did win 62 and change % of the vote. However, the North Idaho Republicans candidates did win half. And given that that's the commie faction, and this is supposed to be deep red territory, I would say it's beyond belief. It isn't. I can't believe they don't realize they're the baddies when they like have to employ these deceptive tactics to get their people in there. It's like, it's creepy.
Well, the general populace in North Idaho is fairly Republican conservative, but most of them also tend to be low information and lazy. So what they'll do, as most people do, is if there's an R next to the name, they'll check the box. So that's how the North Idaho Republicans, they understand that. So that's the fight. They put an R next to their name, hoping that they can confuse the voter. And oftentimes they do. Interestingly enough, the math doesn't math when we say that KCRCC took 62.5%. Meanwhile, NIR took 50%. Obviously, that doesn't fully math.
What are you talking about? Yeah, of course it does. 175% of the candidate. Oh, wait a minute.
There was a little bit of crossover between NIR candidates and KCRCC. Not much, but there was a little bit. What is most interesting to me, though, is that the North Idaho Republican endorsement card resembled the Democrat endorsement card by about 75 or 80%.
Mm-hmm.
And so interestingly enough, as we look at the charts, the Democrats, their endorsement card won about half of the local elections. NIR won about half. That doesn't make 100% though. What that is both the NIR and the Democrats, they ran the same candidates. They endorsed the same candidates. That's where the crossover is.
Right. So the breakdown goes like this. The KCRCC issued the largest slate of endorsements with 31 total candidates and measures. And if you, after removing overlaps and uncontested races, 24 were contested with 15 winning. So that's a 62.5% success rate. Strong results in Post Falls, Rathdrum as well, and a bunch of school board and fire district contests. And then the North Idaho Republicans, they endorsed 16 total, and then 10 were contested, and 5 of those won, which is 50%. So that's where these numbers are coming from.
Yep. But good to explain it. Interestingly, but not surprisingly, NIR swept in Coeur d'Alene and Hayden. It was a slaughter in Coeur d'Alene and Hayden. And, that'll be a recurring theme as long as we do this podcast, I'm afraid.
So here is, I pulled this lady. I'm not sure if you've ever heard any of her videos. She runs a website called the Kootenai County Spectator. Her name is Erin Barnard. You ever heard her videos?
I haven't watched any of her videos, but I'm familiar with Erin and I'm familiar with the publication.
Okay, so I pulled this because she reluctantly voted for Gookin, the reptile who is now in the Coeur d'Alene mayor's chair. And so I thought this might shed a little light on, surely she represents some portion of why people cast their votes for Gookin.
I had a video all ready to go. It was about my picks for Coeur d'Alene City Council and why I was leaving the mayor position blank, but I have seen enough. Today has been a day already, and now I have different thoughts about the races in Coeur d'Alene, and I live in Coeur d'Alene, so it's very important.
Now, you just have to forgive her for this, like, Enya music in the background. Like, I'm not sure if she's trying to, like, calm people down because she's sort of, she's got a little pressure behind her voice because she's doing political topics. So maybe in order to balance it out, she's got like the spa massage music going on.
It's like, not working. I don't feel calm.
So it's very important to me. I'm going to tell them to you. I had my video already made today. I wasn't going to say anything about the CDA mayor position. I was going to leave it blank because it is a very interesting position with 4 contentious candidates. But that's changed. I watched it all happen today on social media and in person, and no longer am I leaving it blank. Now I am voting for Dan Gookin. I wasn't going to. I was going to let you go, but I just can't handle it anymore. Pulsifer, not a good candidate. He sent that quid pro quo letter to Mayor Woody saying, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. If you get out of the race, I'll put you in my cabinet.
If you light my joint, I'll light yours.
Not a good candidate. Woody is not a good candidate. He hasn't been a great mayor. I mean, he's been barely decent, but he did
it's
not
like the weed he used to score back
push
in the day.
back for the Charlie Kirk Day remembrance from the Liberals, and he almost didn't allow us to have the proclamation. He goes wherever the wind takes him. And right now, he's being taken in the liberal way because, I don't know, the 4 liberals in town are screaming. I don't know. But he's not a good candidate. We have seen that. Debbie Loffman may be a nice person, but she has no idea what this position entails. She has no idea what happens and goes on in the city. And the city will chew her up and spit her out. That leaves Dan Gookin. What am I to do? He's the best of the worst candidates. I don't know. Get better candidates next time. I don't know what to tell you. You know what it is? Their candidates are currently on the city council. No way am I voting for candidates that are sitting on the city council right now in the city of Coeur d'Alene. I am voting for their opponents.
Dan Gookin's on the city council.
Right, and I think that's what she was saying. Like, well, that's why I was going to leave it blank. Like, I don't want any of you. Is it still scratchy?
Just a smidge. But it's
this,
better.
Did this mess with it? It might be the...
Maybe this. See, I finally get my own mic. Now there's a learning curve.
Scratching on you?
No, it's better now. A little bit better.
Okay. I don't want it to clip, so I don't want that up too high.
Just want our listeners to get, my deep, sultry voice.
Oh, yeah.
And not scratchy. I've smoked myself out, Paul.
After this, Paul's going to do his love songs. That's the dedication show where you can call in and be like, "Can you play Barry Manilow?"
Dude, you got to tune in for the smooth sounds of Paul Banducci.
So I wonder if there was what contingent Ms. Barnard represents, like of people who are just like, well, I don't want Dan Gookin either, but who the hell am I supposed to vote for?
Normally, I've got a snap answer for that. I don't. It's been a really interesting thing to watch. There's a little bit of a schism going on, and Erin is at the center of it right now. This is where the next couple of years could look very intriguing for the conservative side.
Now with regard to Gookin, your dad mentioned this on the first show, and I think it came up in the last one as well about some of the comments that Gookin has made with regard to like Christians and conservatives, and on a podcast that I believe he used to do. It doesn't seem like it's around anymore.
No, I think he himself scrubbed it off the internet.
He scrubbed it.
I'll put it this way with your question about Aaron. I did not have that on my bingo card.
There was also a Twitter account that was, I guess, his political postings, Dan Gookin Political or Gookin Paul or something thereabouts. And I saw a bunch of people posting screenshots of things that he had posted there. It's Twitter, posting publicly. What we're about to hear in a moment was, a podcast he did publicly. And then now I look for these things and they're not around. I mean, so for one, it's just so spazzy. Why is everyone such a spaz? They're just like mashing buttons on their keyboard. Like, it's the internet. No, like you cannot scrub stuff off the internet.
You can try.
I mean, I guess so for one, it's just so pathetic. Posting and deleting, at least have the courage to stand by. Or if you don't, if you're like, well, that was embarrassing and I was whatever in a different mindset. And, I got off my Celexa and that was just, was my selective serotonin was running low. And now I don't feel that way anymore. And I'm really sorry about what I did. So that's one thing. Like I understand wanting to, you don't think the way you used to. But this is neither one of those things.
No.
He's not sorry. He's not taking it back. He's just scrubbing it and acting like the whole thing never happened.
No, it's a bona fide scrub job. He did it was a podcast. It was a solo podcast. He did it for a couple of years. And podcast is being, I think, very charitable. Most of the time it was him just ranting to whoever would listen to him on the internet. And most of it was, profanity-laced, unhinged type stuff. Not a good look. So smart of him to do the scrub job as best he could.
They don't give a and I'm a Bible-believing Christian.
Oh, hey, by the way, he's in this. He's wearing a headset with a microphone attached, like he's flying an F-14.
I believe in Jesus, and it guides my life as a Christian conservative. So, Christian family values, Christian conservative, mindless cult member, group-thinking morons. Are you a pussy? You're a pussy.
He was looking in a mirror, by the way, when he was saying that.
The rudest, most disrespectful jerks I have ever seen. I seriously think if Jesus were here today, he would have a message for everyone who's a Christian, and he would just say, get the those racists and white supremacists. Gay. I felt really gay last night. To come over
That's quotable.
For a gay time. Christian nationalism. Now, but let's cut right to the chase. It's white nationalism. Real hardcore Christians to himself and to go to hell. They don't give.
Yeah, okay, got it.
You get the idea. That's Dan. It is a supercut. You could make 100 supercuts like this from all of his content.
I'm sure you could. And you can also make anybody sound unhinged doing this. And because the source material is not around or it's not easily findable, I wasn't able to actually hear this stuff in context.
Which is unfortunate. However, as somebody who's been around in the area long enough to have seen a lot of this in its full breadth and depth and in context, it's pretty representative.
Really gay.
That is very representative.
I wish he was still, that's entertaining. I wish he would. Why isn't he doing this anymore?
Are you not entertained?
Yeah.
I am. No, Dan Gookin has always been an entertaining man. That is true.
Right.
And he's a very intelligent guy who just does and says a lot of dumb stuff and doesn't connect the dots in a way that is very intelligent.
I really wish I would have been in that parking lot when he was screaming at your dad and throwing things and flipping off, because boy, does it sound entertaining.
Speaking of feeling very gay, he was feeling it that night. He was like, oh my gosh.
I love you, Todd. You're the worst, Todd.
Well, love and hate, it's a fine line sometimes.
In the words of Sublime, fighting and fucking, it's all the same. All right, so here's a little bit more of Miss Erin Barnard's thoughts with regard to Post Falls.
Current mayor Ron Jacobson has been mayor this entire time. This massive growth in Post Falls has happened, and the sprawl that's happening throughout the prairie, the apartment complexes, the giant Hyatt Place hotel next to the freeway, that has all happened under his watch. You know what else has happened under his watch? The taxes have been raised multiple times throughout the last couple of years. Last year it was raised 7%. This year it was raised 3%, or for this next fiscal year, it was raised 3%. Randy Westland is a current city councilman, and he's also running for mayor.
So as you can tell, this was recorded before the election. Randy has won the Post Falls mayoral seat, but this is a critique that she has because she's apparently someone else who is on the taxation is theft bandwagon. We only played a little bit of Randy on the last show, and it was his proposition about how to incentivize city employees better. But this is what she posits, and I want to get your reaction.
And he's also running for mayor. However, we have a problem. He keeps calling himself the conservative candidate, and the KCRCC, who's supposed to be Republican and conservative, are supporting him. However, he voted last year to raise taxes 7%. He voted to raise taxes this year another 3%, and there is no end in sight, and I'm having a really hard time voting for someone who is actively trying to spend funds and not give them back to the taxpayer. There was a surplus of $800,000 this last year. You know what they did? They chose to spend it on things for the future instead of giving it back to the taxpayer. 30 minutes later, they voted to raise taxes another 3%. So this is what I'm talking about. Fiscal responsibility. Everyone says they have it. Let's start practicing it.
So I'm just wondering where the choices are. Is there anybody who actually thinks that they should go in the other direction, taxes? Or is it just, we won't raise them for the next few minutes if you're lucky? Like, is that the best we can hope for?
That's the best answer we can hope for most candidates. Yeah. And then once they get in, it's probably the best we can hope for in their actions as well. It's an interesting take from Aaron to throw your support behind Dan Gookin, who is definitely not a fiscal conservative, and then flay a guy who has shown to be more conservative most of the time.
Well, she didn't really throw her support behind him. She sort of was like, hold
your nose and vote.
Yeah, like if a plastic snowman was running, I would vote for that. But unfortunately, who's my choice?
Yeah, but if you're I hear you, but if you're gonna hold your nose and vote, why not Debbie Loffman, who is the rookie and is the endorsed candidate by the more conservative Kootenai County Republican Precinct Committee? Like, that's who I would hold my nose and vote for if I thought she matched my values better.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have a rookie in the system than an incumbent almost every time. When people talk about experience, they're like, oh, experience matters. And I'm like, no, I'd like you to be there for 2 years and then go away.
Well, that's okay. So what did she say?
Remembrance from the liberals, and he almost didn't allow us to have the proclamation. He goes wherever the wind takes him. And right now, he is being taken in the liberal way because, I don't know, the 4 liberals in town are screaming.
That was Woody that she was talking about there, by the way. Like, what do you mean he's going to allow?
The Charlie Kirk Day remembrance from the liberals, and he almost didn't allow us to have...
What is he, like a god king? Like, what do you mean you didn't allow us? Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, can Woody unilaterally declare, like, you guys are allowed to have this or not? Like, well, it's a city park. Like, yeah, so what, man? It belongs to the people.
Well, from where I'm sitting, there is no divisiveness, and we can all get along.
That being said, if you show up at the park, you will be tackled and zip-tied.
Yeah. Well, but to your point, though, you're right. The mayor is not the God King. And actually, I was going to mention that when Aaron talks about the growth of Post Falls under Mayor Jacobson, he has some control over that, but not all control over that. Right. And I'm not going to be one to defend Jacobson because, frankly, I think he's been in there for way too long and he's an establishment guy. However, you can't assign problems to somebody whose fault it is not.
Yeah. Well, okay. And I agreed. I was also trying to find what she...
You've seen that. Debbie Loffman may be a nice person, but she has no idea what this position entails. She has no idea what happens and goes on in the city, and the city will chew her up and spit her out. That leaves Dan Gookin.
So to your point, she's saying, oh, she's green. She doesn't know what she's doing. But like you said...
I would rather have that. Do you guys... It's an old movie with Jimmy Stewart. It's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Everybody loves that movie.
All-time classic.
Yeah,
right.
Well,
and that's exactly
charming,
what
right?
he is. Mm-hmm.
He shows up. He's got no experience, and he personifies the American mentality. Like, I don't want to be here. None of us should be here, but here we are. We're a body of Congress, and we got to make some laws. At least so we think. And so I'm going to do the best I can. And of course, he's naive, and he gets used and abused, and yada yada yada. But I'd rather have a guy who goes in with no experience and is going to try to do something.
Yeah, you haven't been captured by the establishment yet, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
And I know that probably sounds just speaking of naive, it probably sounds stupid and naive coming out of my mouth, but I don't want the incumbents. I don't want the lifelong politicians. I don't want the people, as we've discussed before, in there who want to be in there.
Yes. That premise, as you say it, there's that show Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Who's like, and isn't he like a super green? Like he's never coached anything in his life, and I could be wrong.
He's never coached soccer.
Is that it?
No, I haven't seen, so I've seen a lot of clips of the show, but I think it was 3 seasons. I haven't seen actually anything in its entirety, but I've heard good things.
Well, my wife watched it, and I know that maybe he's green, and he's just sort of this naive, cheerful. He's not a soccer coach. He's not a grizzled, seasoned soccer coach, but he gets put in this role. And my point is that we do find that premise to be charming. It's shown in these works of fiction to be really effective. But then in real life, we're worried that this city is going to...
And the city will chew her up and spit her out.
Right.
Well, speaking of complaining, everybody likes to complain about how all the candidates look the same every cycle. That's because nobody wants to vote for anybody new or different. If we vote for the lesser of two evils again and again and again, we still get plenty of evil.
Okay, speaking of evil, now let's these are other topics that are tied into because this is a lot of the points of conversation leading up to the elections that the candidates were speaking about. So that's, housing growth. We talked about public art on the previous show. So I have a smattering of clips covering some of those topics that are not necessarily related to exactly election results, but they are related to election topics. So a couple of clips on housing that I wanted to play. Because speaking of more of the same, have you followed the Coeur Terre project that has been discussed? It's been going on for a number of years now.
Loosely.
There's maybe more than any other topic. There's talk about growth and affordable housing. Yeah. Responsible growth and affordable housing.
Well,
how do we grow responsibly and make houses affordable?
Mark Lucas said it best a couple weeks ago when he said the 3 main topics of conversation for our campaign is growth, growth, and growth.
If you are wondering if we're still in a housing crisis, you do not watch this segment enough. It's nearly all I talk about. But when I say we are still in a housing crisis, I'm not just talking about Idaho. According to the National Low Income Housing Coalition, poor households face a housing shortage in every state and major metropolitan area in the country. There's a shortage of more than 7 million affordable and available rentals for households in poverty. That translates to only 35 of those rentals for every 100 households in poverty in the U.S. That number is slightly lower in Idaho, which ranks us in the worst 15 in the country. Everyone making around or below the median income is facing a housing shortage. All that's to say the situation in our communities is not unique because the issues creating the housing crisis are nationwide. Boise's Director of Housing and Homelessness Policy, Nikki Olivier Hellenkamp, knows the city of...
Okay, well, when you have that many hyphens and syllables in your name, get ready for her to speak about absolutely nothing that is actually pertinent to the housing crisis.
Wait, I know what she's going to say. It's because of racism. That's why there's not enough housing for homeless people.
Racism. Homelessness Policy, Nikki Olivier Hellenkamp knows the city of trees is in a housing crisis.
What is the George Carlin line? Hi, I'm Emily Beauchamp Fortescue. Hi, I'm George Jack Me Off. Fuck you too.
Housing and Homelessness Policy, Nikki Olivier Hellenkamp knows the city of trees is in a housing crisis.
The housing crisis is really driven by macroeconomic forces, right? Okay. That are, as we see people migrate, as we see interest rates rise and fall, as we see the construction labor market, respond to the needs or not respond to the needs, as we see challenges in terms of the cost of land and the cost of building materials. Mm-hmm. These things are all coming into play.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I got to admit, that was a more intelligent response than I expected. And she's not wrong. All of those factors are real factors. Where she's going to probably go wrong and where most people go wrong is that government is the reason all 4 of those factors are in play, which we can unpack anytime we want here.
There is and forgive us because, that the horse is laying in the street and it has X's for eyes and we're just wailing on it with Louisville sluggers and it's just not going to stop.
Well, look, okay, in a nutshell, I'll go down like the 4. Okay, building materials. Tariffs don't help with that. Duh. Along with closing down factories for COVID and thinking they'll just ramp up without any issues.
Well, the air was dangerous.
Oh my gosh. And then the regulatory environment and how much it costs to employ a person, all of that makes it hard to turn a profit and makes building materials cost more. Land. Okay, in places everybody wants to move, land is scarce. It just is what it is, supply and demand. Like actual housing supply, you have to build more. There's no other way to get around it. You can't sit there and complain and be like, we don't have enough houses in this county. And then when builders go, okay, we'd like to build some housing. And you go, no, not right there.
Not right there. Oh, and by the way, if we allow you to, guess what percentage of the build cost is going to be government fees? 25%.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
It's humongous.
Okay, so that's the building side of it, the supply side of it.
Yeah. And then the Federal Reserve, I got to get that in because like you complain about interest rates, complain about the central banking system. That's government also.
Here is Daniel Mitchell. He's a senior fellow from the Cato Institute, and because it's maybe more effective if you hear him say this.
Well, what this chart shows is that the very top green box is your income that you earn. Then you have a blue box. You pay tax on your income up to 35%, 35%, 35%. What's left, the second green box, is your after-tax income. What happens if you save and invest your after-tax income?
It gets inflated away.
The federal government, between the corporate income tax, the capital gains tax, the double tax on dividends, and the death tax, will subject you to as many as 4 different layers of taxation.
Now,
and sales taxes and property taxes.
And inflation, okay, so that's the reason that I'm beating the crap out of this horse that's been dead since the mid-'70s is because nobody mentions it as if it's not a factor. So everybody that's wringing their hands and clutching their pearls about affordable housing is full of baloney.
They just don't connect the dots. That's the problem. Like everybody knows what the issues are, but they don't understand the root causes of the issues. And so they misconnect the dots. It doesn't compute to me that there's any dots not to connect. That's because you're a smart person.
I just feel like I'm not retarded. I don't know if that makes me smart.
It's a fine line, Scott.
What dots are there not to connect? You work from January until Memorial Day before you start to make money for yourself.
Yeah.
And then there's talk about, well, how can people afford housing? Well, gee, I can think of a place to start, but no one wants to start there. And you're telling me it's because they don't connect the dots. I mean, it's the stupid or liar. So you're basically like, well, they're stupid.
There's talk about another stimulus package going around. The best stimulus package they could ever give us is to stop taking our money.
Exactly the horse that I'm beating, the dead horse that will continue to be beaten on this show. It's the single biggest factor that's preventing things like housing from being affordable and preventing houses from being built is because these massive percentages get taken right off the top and then no one acknowledges it. It's as if it's not happening. From a macro to a micro level, you can have micro conversations with people and everyone pretends like taxes don't exist.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I make $94,000 a year. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Make like 57.
So the growth issue obviously is a big one here in North Idaho. So there I go, reining it back in. And it was on everybody's minds at the local level. The problem is, and when we listen to Erin's clips, she complains about growth under Jacobson. And I think, that's on everybody's minds. But so what do you do about it, right? Like as a council member in Post Falls, which is the fastest growing city in North Idaho by far, because it's got the room to grow, housing shortages are a real problem. Affordability is a real problem. But everybody's pissed about the growth. So what do you do, Erin Bernard? And who do you vote for if you're mad at everybody for allowing growth, but you're mad that you can't afford a house?
Here is a big local growth project among very many, but this one has stirred up actually some, I guess, the pushback is pretty much no matter what project you're talking about. Yeah. But it's also, I've had this brought up to me by a couple of different personal acquaintances as something they were excited about.
Well, tonight the developer behind 2,800 new homes in Coeur Terre wants to make a slight change to the project to provide more diverse housing options. Graham 2's Connor McAvoy spoke with the developers and neighbors near the project who are against it.
Oh,
Brian
shocked.
Rogers moved to North Idaho with his family for the scenery, but he says the views he's come to love are going to be in short supply.
Can you pause that real quick? He moved here for the scenery. Well, I was born here, man. Like, get over it. Come on, like that. We talked about this. You move here, and then you get upset that other people want to move here and live here. Like, I'm trying not to cuss on this show, but fuck right off. Get bent. These are not connecting the dots. So the dots are there to connect, Scott. People just don't want to connect them because, like, it doesn't suit their purposes in the moment. That's preference versus principle. And I talk about that all the time. That's the difference between principles and preference. I believe in this until I don't like the way it affects me.
We keep landing on the stupid side of the stupid or liar argument. We're like, well, they're not connecting the dots. It's so hard for me to accept what a concentrated percentage of my fellow citizens are just, they can't connect dots, that it seems like you have to go out of your way not to connect.
And they interviewed this guy. This is what really gets me, is that this outlet interviews this guy, this news outlet interviews this guy, and nobody involved has any sense of irony at all. It's like, there's going to be 2,800 more houses. This is a good thing. But people are mad. So we're going to talk to somebody who moved here because it's a great place to live, who doesn't want anyone else to be able to move here. He's mad.
Well, also to the notion of scenery. Like, of course, it's beautiful. There are a lot of beautiful places. There's kind of beauty in any given setting if you look for it. Like, well, what if you're, in the middle of the plains of freaking Kansas and you can just see the curvature of the earth in every direction because there's just nothing. Okay.
Those sunsets are glorious.
Okay. Right.
I've been in Oklahoma, man. Oklahoma sunsets, hard to beat.
Tons of cloud drama,
They're
the big
glorious.
Open sky.
Yeah, every place has its perks.
So that's exactly what I mean. There's beauty in every, and I hear that a ton because, okay, yes, of course North Idaho is beautiful. A lot of almost every place is beautiful in its own way.
Sure.
We're going to be in short supply.
We kind of fell in love with the beauty of the area, which is being destroyed one day at a time right now.
Coeur Terre is a nearly 450-acre planned community located just across the street from Rogers' home near Hutter and Greta Avenue. It includes 2,800 living units, along with businesses, 18 acres of parks, and land for 2 public schools. Kootenai County Land Company is developing the project, which has been in the works for years and stirs up plenty of opinions among people who live nearby. Rogers says he and others worry about the increase in traffic.
Between having the right type of traffic control and then the amount of housing that we're putting over, which is currently set for 2,800 units, we're very concerned.
It's a concern echoed during tonight's Coeur d'Alene City Council meeting. The developers requested city leaders allowing turning 23 of those acres into an active adult senior living building and traditional 3-story apartment buildings. The company's president, Melissa Wells, presented the information alongside her staff. She says their reasoning for the request is to have more diverse housing options.
It reflects the current market realities, demographic shifts, and community housing needs that basically have evolved since we put together this original conceptual plan.
Council voted in favor of the change, as well as allowing city staff to work with the developers to work on any traffic-related issues community members fear before construction begins. However, Rogers isn't optimistic about the project and says no matter what changes may occur down the road, there are going to be problems.
So they can put up stop signs and we can do stoplights and we can do roundabouts, but long and short of it is the amount of volume that they're looking to do with commercial spaces is very concerning.
Construction for the project set to start late into next year. I'm also told by city officials that anyone who's against the project has until November 27th to
go
appeal
fry
it.
ice.
Connor McAvoy, Creme 2 News.
Okay, I actually know this development now, what you're talking about. This is in what they're calling the Hutter corridor. So my folks, their primary residence, their only property is up against this development.
What are you talking about? I thought he was trying to take over North Idaho College so he could develop it.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, my dad.
But just until he does that, this is their only residence.
Chaos. Okay, this is the chaos they warned about. No, this actually impacts my family just as hard or harder than anybody, because right now my dad, we're able to go across the cul-de-sac and into the field where there is no housing right now.
And that's where it's going to be.
That's where it's going to be. Yeah. So, and there is concern. It's in the Royal Highlands area. There is concern they're going to drive a couple of roads through and connect the neighborhoods all together and then connect it out to Hutter and all that kind of stuff. And it's valid concerns, but it's coming. It's coming. So we look at that and go, man, yeah, growth, it's a bummer. But also, we got to have the houses. Just how it goes. Project's been in the works for like 10 years already.
Yes, it has been. Oh, has it been that long?
It's been a while. Well, it's been in the works since before the land actually was sold. Armstrong was the owner of that land until just about 2 or 3 years ago. He sold it to the developer, and the rule was they couldn't develop it until he died. And I believe that just happened a year or so ago. So now they're starting to work really hard and fast on it. It's going to take them another 5-6 years to get it done, because that's how, that's the speed at which this stuff moves. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of traffic, going to be a lot of houses, but it's in a spot that connects Coeur d'Alene to Post Falls. Royal Highlands is actually in the county, oddly enough. It's this weird spot in the county. And it just is the way it goes, man. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Wait, I thought it was going to be taxation is theft. Now you're locking out like Bruce Almighty?
Well, I'm not locking out yet. We're in the middle of the podcast. We're not locking out. Don't you put me in a box.
I mean, yeah, that's your dad and his fellow cul-de-sac dwellers would be just the type of people who you would think would be at these sorts of meetings. Like, no, I want my cul-de-sac to stay just like it is. Before that cul-de-sac was built, I'm sure that the people that were adjacent didn't want that cul-de-sac to be built. It was probably built, in the 70s?
Yeah, 70s.
Yeah. I mean, so like we've been saying, it's just people want the city around them or the space around them frozen at whatever point it is they moved into it.
Yeah.
By the way, I love the notion of people waiting on you to die so that some project can get underway.
Actually, Armstrong put that in the contract. He was an old school farmer, and so that was that was his doing. Sold it off, I think, to help his family and whatnot. Farming in that section is kind of dead as dead can be, like it is in most of this area. But he didn't want to see it developed while he was alive. I totally dig it.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
He's like, why is he in a hospital bed? There's no pillows. That looks uncomfortable.
If everybody knew that, there'd be a massive countywide effort to keep him alive as long as possible. Be like, he's not dead yet.
No, it's like a Weekend at Bernie's situation. Like, no, look, he's alive. See, he's waving at you. So,
anyways, yeah, the long and the short of it is the hypocrisy is a word that gets thrown around a lot, but it drives me nuts. It's like, and I'm not trying to be dismissive. I don't like the growth either, but I also want my kids to be able to afford to live here. And that's a part of the equation.
A part of the equation down at the University of Idaho. You didn't go to U of I.
No, I went to Oklahoma Christian University for college.
But you went to, where'd you go to high school?
Lake City.
Or Lake City?
Yeah, Lake City High School.
Down at University. Now we talked about the Public Arts Commission on the last show.
And before we clock out today, I do want to cover how the press covered some of the mayoral races.
Let's do that.
So we got to dial that back in.
We should. You know what? Let's do that now before we fully switch to this story about art, which it isn't even really mainstream deconstruction. It's just deconstruction of a particular milieu that was really captured wonderfully by the lady who's the president, the student body president down there at the U of I.
Well, I'm using Scott's words, but you guys are and I agree with them, but you guys are the producers, and I have heard some feedback from our producers that we need to try and keep things on track a little bit.
Really? Oh, I felt like we did that pretty decently. No?
So. We rabbit trailed pretty hard our second episode. We rabbit trailed a little bit here too. Not that that's a bad thing, but we'll try to keep it on point for you guys.
Yeah, okay. And you know what? It is the nature of stream of consciousness.
That's true.
Sometimes things just. But yes, I
and
do.
You and I could sit here and do this for 10 hours and just go everywhere. Get a ticket for erratic driving.
You would surely get pulled out of the car and beaten within an inch of your life.
Been there, done that. Burnt the jump chute.
Man, there's so much stories to tell that we'll get to. Maybe we'll just dedicate an entire show to the personal stories of run-ins with authority.
Shit. Oh, man.
Okay, but yeah, because this is a media deconstruction show, you pointed this out before we went live here, and I thought it was terrific. The Coeur Terre Press, which is the biggest, it's the mainstream newspaper in the area, how they framed their headlines with regard to the election results.
Oh, it's magnificent. If ever you want to see yellow journalism on parade, read the Press for a week or two. It's incredible. So with the mayoral races for Coeur Terre and Post Falls, just beautiful work. Dan Gookin wins. Coeur Terre Press article comes out, and the headline is, Dan's the man.
Gay?
Big old.
That's literally the headline.
That is literally the headline.
Dan's the man.
With about the most flattering picture they could conjure up of Dan Gookin. And that's hard to do.
It is hard.
It's really
with
hard to do.
With his little cow lick.
With this really gay.
This shit-eating grin on Dan's face. The press is so stoked that their man won. Meanwhile, in Post Falls, their man, Jacobson, did not win. Mm-hmm. So the article they run there is Jacobson reflects on 8 years of service.
Yeah, they didn't mention the guy who won.
They didn't talk about the guy who won. No, they did run an article finally a few hours later saying, here are the results, and ho-hum, Ranley Wrestling won. Mm-hmm. Post Falls mayor reflects on losing bid for fourth term. Tell me that you had major horses you backed without telling me how sad you are that your guy didn't win in Post Falls.
No kidding.
Tell me how happy you were that your man wins in Coeur Terre.
Gay?
This is so along those lines. What they chose to use from the AP with regard to Mamdani winning in New York.
Yeah.
And it was literally like Mamdani wins New York mayor's seat, sparking hope and beautiful thoughts from American Muslims everywhere. I mean, it was not that. That was very close to what it was. I'll pull it up.
If I could sound drop right now, I would sound drop the change from South Park during the hope and change years of Obama.
I'll put it in post.
Please do.
Here comes the change, everybody! Woo!
I'll finish that thought with the Mamdani thing in New York. A, we all saw that coming, no surprise. But B, they're treating him like the next Barack Obama.
Oh, yes.
That's exactly the whole hope and change thing. And like, which is hilarious because all of his ideas have been tried again and again and again for the last 150 years, and they've all failed everywhere they've been tried. But here we go. It's going to work this time. It's going to work this time, Scott. The state-run grocery stores, they're not going to run out of food.
Food is a basic human right. Sports cars are a basic human right.
Apparently buses are too, because that was part of his campaign was free and fast busing.
They love buses.
They love buses.
Boy, do they love buses. You know who else uses buses? Prisoner transports.
Prisoner transports. And buses are not that far off from trains.
Okay, so let me play this.
Something very cool is happening at the University of Idaho, and you'll soon see a new but familiar face on campus. Dave Summers traveled to Moscow today for the sculpting of Joe Vandal.
My name is Martha Smith, and I'm the student body president here at the University of Idaho.
Okay. Now, there's a particular vocal phenomenon that is going on here with Martha Smith, and I wonder if you're familiar with what it is.
My name is Martha Smith, and I'm the student body president here at the University of Idaho.
Do you know what that is?
No.
You know what that's called? That's called vocal fry. Are you familiar with vocal fry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, my wife has been accused of having vocal fry.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay, let's keep going.
At the beginning, we put out a call for artists and had a ton of people apply, and that was really fun to see. We're really excited because for me, one of the things that I was really prioritizing was making sure students were involved in it and making sure that the student voice was something that was valued and heard. U of I's changed my life, and I think I say that every time that I can because the University of Idaho has been really wonderful for not only me, but also my family and my little sisters.
Wait, I thought we were talking about art.
Well, it is. It's the sculpture of Joe Vandal or whatever that's going up.
Why is she telling us about her?
That's a good question. I mean, they interviewed her because presumably she was involved in the picking of the artist and what this was. Who was going to do?
By the way, I'm not putting you to the fire here, Scott, for your clip. I just thought it was interesting that if this is an art interview, she let out with herself. I mean, I like talking about myself too. We could do that all day long.
You're right.
A ton of people apply, and that was really fun to see. We're really excited
a lot of artists
because
applied,
for me, one of the things that I was really prioritizing was making sure
right.
students were involved in it and making sure that the student voice was something that was valued and heard. U of I's changed my life.
Okay, so I can't it's once you become aware of this phenomenon, it becomes really obvious when you hear it.
Vocal fry?
Yeah, and it's something that
drives you nuts, doesn't it?
Personally, find yes really grating. Yeah. Okay, but so here, did you ever? There was a show that ran. I don't know, maybe 7-8 years ago called Louder Milk, starring the guy from Office Space, Ron Livingston. There's a scene from that show that kind of captures this really well. I thought I'd play it.
I'd like a large coffee.
Okay, so hot coffee.
I know this clip.
Okay, room for cream.
Totally leave room for cream.
Why are you talking like that?
Why are you talking like that?
Because this is my voice?
This is my voice.
No, it's not. I heard you talking a minute ago. I know you don't talk like that.
Neither do you, because nobody actually talks like this.
I can't help it. This is my voice.
No, it's not. It's an affectation that annoying teenagers and rich people use to sound like they don't give a shit.
So is your wife an annoying teenager or really wealthy?
Damn, no. She must be like a phenomenon or something.
I'm sorry if this is something that you weren't aware of and now you are, because it's all you'll hear.
I'm taking this personally now. How dare you? That was my fist on the desk.
The table.
I'll have you know, sir, that my wife has a lovely voice.
Oh,
and
sure.
she is neither wealthy nor a teenager.
And I heard that and I was like, man, that is one of the most virulent cases I've seen in quite a long time.
Man, I'm glad my wife doesn't listen to these. She'd be so pissed.
Oh, she could just stop talking.
Like, you hang out with that guy, Scott?
I say that every time that I can because the University of Idaho has been really wonderful for not
now
only
I
me,
can
but
hear
also
it.
my
Okay.
family and my
Now, my
It's
wife
so
does,
gravelly.
She does not sound like that. She does not sound like that.
Just occasionally. Who has accused her of this?
People on the internet, it's full of mean people.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because she has her own Apothecary Mary channel where she does herbalism and wild foraging and things like that. And once in a while, she'll get a comment, you should really work on your vocal fry. My poor wife is like, I don't have vocal fry. And then I'm like, of course you don't, honey. I don't know what that means. But if it's bad, you don't have it.
Wow.
You're
what a
beautiful.
Great husband.
Just the way you are.
Wow. Okay, here, you know what? Here's something that won't annoy you. This is just a nice feel-good piece of fluff. How about that?
Here is a great story of people making a difference. Silverwood Theme Park just announced that guests at the park helped raise more than $38,000.
Wait, by taking it forcefully from taxpayers?
No.
$8,000. That money is going to food banks all across North Idaho and Spokane. Each ticket purchased during the September Community Appreciation Weekends helps support organizations. We're talking places like Second Harvest, Third Avenue Marketplace, Community Action Partnership, and many others. This is, of course, during a time when so many people are in need. Simple acts of kindness like this making a very big difference. Well done to them and to all of you that went, of course, to Silverwood.
How will people eat if not for food stamps?
That's a great question. That's all I got on that one.
Here would be a good place to take a quick breather and describe the value for value model.
Yeah. How will we eat
without
the government?
The model of this show is value for value. That means that if you find this show to be valuable, send us some value back. We intend to run on value for value for as long as we can, which means no sponsors, no brands to promote, no products to hawk, just contributions from you who find this show valuable if you do. So that means sending back time, talent, and treasure. And that could mean boots on the ground reports. If you have inside tips, hot tips, you work here, you know that guy, we would love to hear any input that you have of stuff we've missed, stuff we've got wrong, stuff we've got right.
Yeah, serve us the dish.
Any suggestions for topics to discuss or topics not to discuss?
We may or may not discuss them.
And that would mean show art if you want to send in a thumbnail for show cover art, which will change every show.
Art not with public dollars.
Just your own talent.
Yeah.
And speaking of dollars, the treasure portion is also extremely appreciated and, of course, vital so that, we can eat.
We also accept schmeckles, rubies, or Bitcoin.
Then maybe actually Paul can use that to buy tea so that his wife can take a sip of it before she speaks. And hopefully, there are a bunch of links now on our website. That is noidshow.com. And so now it's not just there's, a bunch of different options like people had, we heard a suggestion for Patreon and YouTube and a few other sources to click through and send us some value back. So noidshow.com is where you can go to do all that. And we'll be happy to read your note on the show if you send something in. So value for value.
Going to get a Facebook page up and running in the near future. Things that we don't love, but we're going to do it so we can be more accessible.
Everything is at No ID Show. YouTube is at No ID Show, and the emails, Scott at No ID Show, Paul at No ID Show, and then noidshow.com. And thanks in advance.
noidshow.com, noidshow.com.
So I have a couple more here, but if you have election stuff, let's do it.
I figured I would real quick.
Go.
Just observations. Coeur d'Alene and Hayden, they did not go the way of the conservative. Neither did Athol. Post Falls, bright light, which was really interesting. Well, if you're conservative, bright light. And a lot of the nonpartisan stuff as well. So I just think that's really interesting. Fodder for thought, food for thought, worth noting depending on where you live, where you want to live, where your future here is. It's been really fascinating to watch. And what's interesting about the low voter turnout, 28% across the county. In Coeur d'Alene, I think it might have even been worse. There's like 75,000 people in Coeur d'Alene now. Less than 12,000 of them voted. So it's really interesting watching a town that prides itself on being, most of the people pride themselves on being suburban conservative Americans. I like my guns and I go to church and I love my cops and I'm a God-fearing conservative. Don't even bother to vote for city council and mayor and end up with hyper leftists in that city again and again and again. So it's fascinating to me. And I don't know why this is, but in Post Falls, for the most part, that hasn't been the case. Not sure why. I don't know if it's because people are more active in Post Falls or if there really is just that many more conservatives in Post Falls by percentage, but I think it's largely apathy in Coeur d'Alene. People just don't know.
It's got to be tied to the urban nature of it.
Coeur
d'Alene's just had a longer time to become urban, and more urban is more blue. It's just
that's true.
The way of the world.
That's true.
It's obviously a combination of factors. So. And it is weird. Like going to the polling place, in a presidential election year, and it's just tons and tons of people. And then you go there on a cycle like this and there's nobody.
Yeah.
If anything is going to affect your day-to-day life, it just seems a little backwards.
It does seem a little backwards. I think that's by design, though. That's why they have these elections in the off cycle. Even if they linked them up with, and there's actually been a movement in the state of Idaho to sync up all of these off cycle, like super off cycle elections, sync them up with, at the very least, with midterms. And those proposals have failed thus far because people in power know that's how the levies pass, that's how the bonds pass, that's how they get all of these things passed where it's spending more of your money, and it's typically people who lean to the left who are in charge. That's how they stay in charge. That's how they get all these levies and bonds passed, is they do it in the off-cycle years.
Mm-hmm.
So they've resisted any change to that. Their reasoning for it, in case you're curious, is voter fatigue. They're afraid that people will have too many things to vote for if they put it all in midterm or main cycle elections.
I've also seen their reasoning for wanting to do the consolidation as we want to save money.
And I agree with this, to move these off-cycle elections into the on-cycle elections and the midterms. It would actually save the taxpayer money because it does cost thousands and thousands of dollars for the counties to put on these elections.
And you're sure it wouldn't overwhelm your whittle head?
Well, it's a really interesting, I think it's a tell. It's absolutely a tell when your elected leaders say you're too stupid to vote on more than a couple of things. So that's why we got to have an election every year instead of on, midterms and main cycles.
It's always fun when their contempt for us leaks out unintentionally.
When they say the quiet part out loud, it's great, but it doesn't get picked up on very often.
So speaking of quiet part out loud, or I don't want to step on it though. Like if there's more election thoughts.
I think that's what I had. I just figured we'd traipse there for a second because it's interesting to watch North Idaho on this,
This is another sort of more broad phenomenon, I guess, or a pattern, and it's one that I wonder if you are familiar with, and I have no idea if this is one of those things, but it sure seemed like it to me. Are you familiar with like the 6-week cycle?
We're talking about my wife again. Gosh darn it, Scott.
I can't wait until our wives sync up. That's going to be fun. That always happens.
I hope that they don't listen to this podcast. I'm kidding. We could actually use the PayPal contributions from them. Mary, if you're listening, I need money.
It's the notion of the FBI setting up their own sting operation. So when they thwart the latest terror plot, and then it comes out that the entire
whole
plot
time
was being cooked by the FBI, and they recruited some 19-year-old kid with a bad mustache, and they sort of con him into going along with it, and then they tackle him at the last second and go, "Look, we thwarted an attack."
We're not even talking conspiracy theory. We're talking about things that happen every other month.
Yes, I know. This is I always love when the conspiracy.
And they're on record.
Yes, the conspirators loudly and proudly announce what they're doing, and then you point it out and you get called a theorist as if it's a theory. Okay, but so one happened here locally.
Oh, did it?
Yes. So I wanted to first play
How do I not know about this?
The original story. Now the original story was from last year, but then he had a plea change just like last week. So that made me go, well, let's introduce anyone who may be within the sound of our voices that is not familiar with the 6-week cycle.
Story tonight, the shocking arrest of an 18-year-old in Coeur Terre for allegedly planning terrorist attacks in the name of ISIS. Alexander Mercurio pleaded not guilty to providing material support to ISIS in a federal courtroom today. He is now set to go to trial at the end of May.
ISIS in America.
Alexander Mercurio was arrested over the weekend for allegedly planning to attack people at Coeur Terre churches on behalf of the terrorist group ISIS. Messages uncovered by the FBI show Mercurio allegedly planned to use weapons, including firearms, knives, and a flame sword to kill as many people as possible.
A flame sword?
An indictment filed in this case says Mercurio is charged with attempting to provide
I looked it
They
up.
should charge him with being a badass. A flame sword?
I looked up what a flame sword
How do you plead?
is.
I plead guilty, sir, of the most badass assassination attempt ever.
Your Honor, do you want to see the flame sword?
An indictment filed in this case says Mercurio is charged with attempting to provide material support to a designated foreign terrorist organization. He pleaded not guilty to this and denied the criminal forfeiture allegation, which means he does not want the court to seize his property if convicted.
Well, I don't know who would.
Yeah.
They'd be like, no, that's okay.
Leave the flame sword on the mount on the wall if you don't mind. You can take everything else.
Convicted.
Well, certainly it was a great surprise.
Coeur d'Alene Mayor Jim Hammond says the 18-year-old's alleged.
So this is the previous mayor who, before he stepped down and Woody took over, they interviewed, because like I said, the original story was from last year, from 2024.
18-year-old's alleged plans are not tolerated in the community.
Is there a community where they are tolerated?
Dearborn, Michigan.
18-year-old's alleged plans are not tolerated in the community.
I think that anybody living in North Idaho would be crazy to think that they could get any sympathy from anybody else regarding ISIS or any support for any kind of similar organization.
Mayor Hammond is reassured, though, by the swift action law enforcement took before anyone got hurt.
Thank God Woody wasn't mayor at the time.
Caught him before.
Because Woody would have been like, well, from where I'm sitting, can't we all just get along?
ISIS might have a point, man.
Back in the 70s, flame swords were used for peace.
Before he could cause any harm. And I do truly trust that they will do the same in terms of monitoring and being vigilant about any other dangers that we have within the community.
Court documents say Mercurio is facing a maximum penalty of up to 20 years in prison.
Holy smokes.
He will now remain in U.S. Marshal custody pending the trial for this case.
It was that flame sword that did him in. Okay. I'm going to hammer that one. That is the best.
It's so good.
And the trial is currently scheduled for May 28th, and at this point, all proceedings will remain here in Coeur d'Alene.
Do you know Do you know how it, this is all news to me. I'm actually shocked. I don't know about this.
Okay.
How did it end?
So, well, now he did, like I said, he had a plea change, and this was from just like last week.
The teenager accused of planning attacks on Coeur d'Alene churches last year has changed his plea to guilty. Federal authorities arrested Alexander Mercurio in April of 2024 for allegedly planning to start fires inside a local church. Messages uncovered by the FBI show that Mercurio planned to use weapons, including firearms, knives, and a, quote, flame sword to kill as many people as possible.
I mean, that part's
He
not
is
cool.
charged with trying to provide material support to a terrorist organization. A judge will sentence him early next year.
Are they just reading off? He took a plea deal. We know that for sure. They didn't tell us what the plea deal was, but I wonder if it involved keeping his flame sword.
How much you want to bet the people that he was like, the FBI intercepted messages? How much you want to bet he was messaging with an FBI agent?
Oh, I guarantee you it was he was talking to some Fed boy for sure.
Now,
there's actually a really good high profile example of this, Scott, from a year prior to this, I think. A group of guys got arrested for allegedly planning to commit violence at gay days in Coeur d'Alene a couple years ago. So they were having whatever they call it, Pride in the Park.
Oh,
in Coeur d'Alene, gay days,
Yeah, Dan Gookin.
Dan Gookin's favorite. Yes, Dan Gookin's favorite event.
To come over for a gay time.
A
really
gay time. Yeah,
really
Coeur d'Alene
gay.
is the place for a gay time.
Come over really gay.
So these dudes were like, gay times for all, not on my watch. And apparently loaded up into the back of a moving truck and then set up somewhere in Coeur d'Alene nearby, and we're going to cause some trouble. So, but before they can cause any trouble, the feds surround the truck, pop it open, and there's 8 of them in there. So it's not many, but 8 of them in there. And 3 of them are Fed boys. Yeah. So that's how that stuff goes. And of course, that gives Coeur d'Alene another feather in its cap where they're like, we don't tolerate this kind of hate. And so they got prosecuted to the full extent of the law and got the book thrown at them and all the different stuff. And it was on a lot of flimsy things going on there. It was sort of like J6 where, 1 out of 3 people in the crowd is a Fed boy, and a lot of stuff wouldn't have happened if the Fed boys didn't make it happen. And, good times. Good times.
You can hear the crowd chanting, Fed, because some guy's like, hey guys, let's go in. Hey, everybody, let's go in the building.
It would be a great idea. Crime.
Okay, here now, just in case you think this is a little too conspiratorial, this is well-documented phenomenon in the 6-week cycle.
A victory in court for 3 men convicted in a terrorism sting more than a decade ago.
Police arrested the men last night as they were allegedly planting what they thought were real bombs outside a Jewish temple.
A federal judge ordering the release of Anta Williams, David Williams, and Laguerre Payne, 3 of the men known as the Newburgh Four. arrested for a plot to blow up synagogues in New York City and shoot down National Guard planes in upstate New York. In a scathing decision, U.S. District Judge Colleen McMahon accusing FBI agents of trying to arrest petty criminals by radicalizing them in to participate in a plot she called an FBI-orchestrated conspiracy.
Every step of the way was all the FBI. These guys they had no driver's licenses. They couldn't find Google Maps of where these targets are that the FBI informant told them to use. I mean, they came up with not one single part of this plot. It was all the FBI.
That FBI informant, Shahid Hussein, who made headlines again when a stretch limo operated by his company crashed in rural New York, killing 20 people.
How does that happen?
Hussein now serving a 5 to 15-year prison sentence for that crash. In the Newberg case, the federal judge who granted the release also accusing Hussein of recruiting James Cromedy, who was believed to be the ringleader of the terror plot. As for the Williamses and Payne, their 25-year sentence is pulled back to 90 days. Their attorney hoping for more compassionate releases in the future.
I think that the FBI is still doing and has been doing a lot of these unfair sting cases where they prey on mentally ill young men who really are not interested in terrorism.
We've reached out to the FBI and Department of Justice, but have not heard back. Ellison Barber, NBC News.
I mean, it's sort of like playing with cheat codes, preying on mentally ill young men.
No, shooting fish in a barrel.
Target-rich environment. That's tough. But so, did I hear that one of those guys crashed a stretch limo with 20 people inside? And 20 people got killed.
I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the absurdity of that extra. Yeah. So it wasn't one of the four stooges. It was the informant that the FBI was using to lure these guys. That informant was a scumbag, and he had some other incident that he was involved in that was not even related necessarily to this. He's just a scumbag informant.
Well, that's a redundancy. You could just say informant.
You're right. You'll do the scumbag math on that. It happens all the time. I mean, those are the type of guys that get involved in this stuff, and I'm just saying that it's not. I have to wonder about Alexander Mercurio and the Coeur Terre churches. It sounds like a 6-week cycle event to me.
Well, up here, tying it back into Panhandle stuff, we've seen it a couple of times up here. Do we know for 100%? Nah, but are the signs there? Yeah. And North Idaho, for all you who don't know this, most of you guys probably do already, since you're listening to us. Has a pretty significant federal presence. It does. Yeah. There's a lot of activity up here. They are watching, they are listening, and they're looking for things. So North Idaho is, once again, we win the ribbon for being very unique for our size and our shape, so to speak. Things that you wouldn't think are up here are definitely up here. So mind your manners. Also, a part of that doesn't help, well, depending on who you are, help or hurt, that the more you know, Kootenai County Jailhouse is tied in with the feds. That's why it's a supermax facility. So when people think jail, they think something very quaint. But Kootenai County Jail is not quaint. It's a supermax style facility because they handle all of the federal felony transfers. That's one of my faves. You got to teach me how to sound drop. I'm going to be lethal.
After the show.
I will be more lethal than that guy with the flame sword if you just teach me how to sound drop.
Speaking of lethal, here's the final one.
Former Vice President Dick Cheney has died. He was 84 years old. Cheney was the 46th vice president, serving along former President George W. Bush for 2 terms. His family says Cheney died because of complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease.
Cheney actually visited Spokane in April of 2006. He attended a fundraiser for a GOP Senate candidate and also held a rally for troops at Fairchild Air Force Base.
Wait for it.
Cheney then returned to the inland Northwest for a visit to North Idaho later in 2006. He stopped at the Coeur Terre Airport, where he rallied with supporters for about 30 minutes ahead of election day.
In 2006?
In 2006,
Why do we care? It's like Cheney came through Spokane one time and did a thing 20 years ago, and now he's dead.
Taxation is theft. I'm Paul Panducci.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, so that's pretty much what I got for today.
Those are some random clips, Scott. I'm impressed. I had fun.
It's a lightning round.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing is while I like specific topics, this is deconstruction of mainstream media, and mainstream media covers all sorts of random topics. So I don't necessarily intend to just pick one topic and stick to that topic for every show. I know now I see your, Paul's Paul's head is spinning around like The Exorcist. I know you don't maybe necessarily appreciate that.
Think about vocal fry.
What? This is just my voice.
That's how I feel. No, this is fun. You see, candid moments. That's what we're here for. It's a good time. I'm new here, man. I'm not a podcaster. I will never be a podcaster, even though I'm podcasting right now. This is Scott's jam, but I'm happy to be a part of it.
This is what you look for. You look for, just like Debbie Loftman. You know, this podcast is going to chew you up and spit you out.
You've already given away my job to Jarvis, the talking AI guy.
We didn't even use him today.
Thank God. I got my job back, I guess, for the day.
Yeah. Well, you're no good, Chauncey.
Yeah.
You had nothing to contribute.
Oh, it's Chauncey. That's
Chauncey.
Right. Chauncey with your gay accent.
As coined by our new city councilman, Mark Luca.
Oh, yeah.
Because, he obviously thought that Chauncey sounded gay.
Really gay.
Yeah.
No, I dig it. It's like an awkward marriage, this podcast so far. I'm having a good time. You're gonna go all over the place. I'm gonna rein you in.
For more uncomfortable nuptials, go to noidshow.com and please support us, value for value. And if you like what you're hearing, another great thing you can do is telling a friend.
Yeah,
that's
please
how
do.
Podcasts spread through word of mouth.
Because I feel, speaking of awkward, I feel really awkward trying to whore ourselves out on this. It's weird. I don't like it. I don't like spamming people like, hey, will you check out my podcast? Instead, will you guys whore it out for us?
Exactly.
I'd appreciate that.
We're looking for third-party prostitution here.
Yes. Yeah. Degree of separation so they can't steal my flame sword when they prosecute me.
Flame sword. I literally looked it up. I Google imaged it. I was like, what is that? I asked ChatGPT, I asked Chauncey, and he was like, do you mean from a video game? And I'm like, I know. I think this is real life. I'm not sure.
I mean, I know what a chainsaw sword is. We all played Gears of War. Chainsaw sword, bayonet. That's badass. Flame sword? That's a whole new ballgame.
Is there just a dartboard full of terms that you that just sounded like a bunch of hodgepodge of various weaponry all jammed into one phrase?
Never played Gears of War?
No. Oh. I was a Duke Nukem guy.
Talk about,
older than you.
That's old school. Yeah. No, I can appreciate that too. Things I did not have on my bingo card today, Scott. Well done.
Duke Nukem would actually be a great soundboard.
Yes, it would.
Are you familiar with some of those phrases?
A couple of them,
Hail to the king, baby. Like that stuff. Okay.
Good times.
Thanks for checking us out here. We'll be back with episode number 4 very soon. And until then...
Taxation is theft. I'm Paul.
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum. And I'm all out of gum.